The day Eli Mercer agreed to marry a woman he had never loved, he told himself it was only a contract with Winter, not with his heart, because the plains were unforgiving to lonely men, and the cold did not care about pride or memories. Eli was known across 3 counties as a hard man with steady hands, the kind who could break a wild horse before sunrise and bury a friend before sundown without shedding a tear. His ranch sat alone where the grass bent endlessly under the wind, and the silence there had grown so loud it followed him even in sleep. After the death of his first love years earlier, a woman taken by fever and buried beneath cottonwood trees, Eli had closed himself off from the idea of love as if it were a door nailed shut. But the winters had grown harsher, the nights longer, and the work heavier, and when the preacher suggested a practical arrangement, a mail-order bride, a simple woman who would keep the house warm and the meals steady, Eli accepted not because he hoped, but because he was tired of surviving alone. The letter described her as quiet, obedient, plain, someone who would not ask questions or stir trouble, and that suited him just fine. He told himself he didn't need passion, laughter, or chaos. He needed stability, and stability was something he could control. When the train arrived on a gray morning thick with steam and coal smoke, Eli stood stiffly on the platform, hat pulled low, heart armored against disappointment. He expected a timid woman clutching a small suitcase, eyes lowered, grateful for rescue. Instead, what stepped off the train shattered every expectation he had carefully built. She wore a faded green dress dusted with travel grime, her boots scuffed like she had walked miles before boarding, her red hair pinned loosely as if she had given up trying to tame it. Her eyes, sharp, fearless and far too alive, swept the platform like she was measuring the world rather than begging it. She carried herself not like a woman delivered, but like one arriving on her own terms. When she spotted Eli, she did not smile politely or avert her gaze. She walked straight toward him, set her bag down, and extended her hand with calm confidence. "Name's Mara Hale," she said, voice steady and low, not a hint of fear in it. "I believe you're my husband." The word husband landed between them like a challenge. Eli hesitated, shaken by the fire in her eyes, by the way she stood squarely in front of him, unbowed and unapologetic. This was no simple bride. This woman had lived. He shook her hand, feeling something stir that he had long buried, and immediately pushed it down. On the ride back to the ranch, Mara spoke of the land as if she understood it, asked about cattle rotations, water sources, and storms. Questions no obedient bride was supposed to ask. Eli answered curtly, irritation building, unsure whether it was her confidence or the way she unsettled him that bothered him more. At the ranch, she did not wait to be shown her place. She explored the house, opened windows, scrubbed the dust from shelves, not because she was told to, but because she wanted the space to breathe. That night, she ate quietly but not submissively, watching Eli with careful curiosity, as if she were studying him the way one studies a wild animal, not with fear, but respect. When he told her the rules, no wandering far, no questioning his decisions, no stirring trouble, she listened patiently, then looked him straight in the eye and said, "I didn't come here to be a shadow, Eli Mercer. I came here to build something. If that's not what you want, you should have married a ghost." Her words struck deeper than he expected, awakening memories of laughter he had once known, of warmth he had denied himself. That night, Eli lay awake listening to the wind batter the walls, realizing that the silence he had grown used to was gone. Over the following days, Mara proved herself in ways that unsettled him further. She helped with livestock, not clumsily but with intuition, calming spooked horses, mending fences with practiced hands. Townfolk whispered when they saw her riding hard, hair loose in the wind, unafraid to meet a man's stare. She argued when she disagreed, laughed loudly when something pleased her, and refused to shrink herself to make others comfortable. Eli found himself angry at her independence, not because it disrupted his life, but because it reminded him how empty it had become. One evening, during a storm that tore across the plains like an angry spirit, Mara stood beside him on the porch, rain soaking her dress, and spoke softly of a past she had survived, of loss, of betrayal, of running rather than breaking. She did not ask for his sympathy. She simply shared her truth. In that moment, Eli realized something dangerous. This wild woman had already begun to change him, cracking open a heart he had sworn to keep sealed. And winter had not yet truly arrived. Winter came early that year, harsher than anyone predicted, and with it came the true test of what Eli and Mara were becoming. Snow buried the land, isolating the ranch from town, forcing them into a closeness Eli had never planned for. Days passed with only each other for company, and slowly, the rigid boundaries Eli had built began to erode. Mara rose before dawn, working beside him without complaint, singing softly as she cooked, filling the house with a warmth that had nothing to do with fire. She challenged him when he withdrew, refused to let his silences dominate the room, and when his temper flared, she stood firm, not afraid, not submissive. One night, after a brutal day rescuing cattle trapped in a blizzard, Eli finally broke. He confessed the fear that haunted him, that loving meant losing, that opening his heart again would only lead to pain. Mara listened without interrupting, then told him something that cut through his defenses like sunlight through ice. "You don't avoid pain by closing your heart," she said. "You just avoid living." Those words stayed with him long after the storm passed. Trouble came in the form of a neighboring rancher who saw Mara's strength as an invitation for control, who underestimated her and challenged Eli's authority. When violence threatened, Mara did not hide. She stood beside Eli, fierce and unyielding, proving that partnership was not about protection alone, but trust. In the aftermath, Eli realized that somewhere along the way, the arrangement had become something real. He no longer imagined surviving winter. He imagined a future, seasons beyond endurance. The night he finally admitted his love, it was quiet, unremarkable by the world's standards. No grand speeches, no witnesses, but it was everything. He told her she had changed him, that the wildness he once feared had saved him from becoming a man hollowed by regret. Mara smiled, not triumphantly, but tenderly. Because she had never set out to change him, she had simply refused to disappear. Spring arrived slowly, the snow melting to reveal land ready for growth. And Eli understood the truth at last. He had accepted a simple bride to survive. But fate had sent him a woman who taught him how to live. Their love was not born of fantasy, but forged in hardship, respect and shared strength. And as the plains bloomed once more, so did Eli Mercer's heart, no longer locked away, no longer afraid.